What's up, guys? Welcome back to my live stream. If you are new to this channel, I'm Jero Serrano and I develop game engines, and I tend to go on YouTube and upload videos and do live streams related to game engine development. So if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to my channel right now so you can get notified whenever I upload a video or whenever I go live on YouTube. By the way, if you are looking for a Discord community of indie game engine developers, I would like to invite you to join my Discord server, where we have a bunch of indie game engine developers, each of us developing our own game engines. We like to help each other out. We like to provide tips, share knowledge. So if you are looking for a really cool community, feel free to join us. I'm going to provide a link to the Discord server in the description below. Feel free to join us, introduce yourself, and tell us about your game engine. And if you need some help, let us know. No matter if you are a novice, aspiring, or an expert game engine developer, we would like you to join. All right, guys. So let's get to the video. Or to the live stream, right? In this live stream, what I'm going to do, I'm going to answer several game engine development questions that you may have as as a newbie, and we are going to do some not a lot of coding, but somewhat of coding today. But before we do that, let me share with you what I have been doing with the game engine, with the Untold engine. That's the name of my game engine, in case you are new to this channel or you forgot that the name of my game engine. All right, so let me go to my monitor here. So because I'm going to show you my game engine. If you do not know this, I wrote my game engine using the Metal graphics API, which is from Apple. So I use Xcode, that's the IDE, and basically my game engine targets Apple devices such as iOS and Macs. Now, if you may be wondering why did I choose this target, these devices, mainly because when I started developing my game engine, my intent was more to learn game engine development than anything else. I really was not thinking about, hey, should I do it on Windows or stuff like that. And I do not like Windows, so I decided to choose Apple just because I just wanted to learn. But eventually, after 8 years of working, my game engine is getting more. It has a lot more features than I ever anticipated. So here we are. All right, so here is my game engine, and just let me double check that I'm actually sharing with you. All right, cool. Again, if you are just joining us, my name is Jero Serrano, and I develop game engines. And if you want to develop your own game engine, feel free to ask any questions in the chat. I will be happy to answer them. And if I do not know the answer, I will ask you to join my Discord server, because many members in my Discord server may actually know the answer. And if you don't want to join, that's okay. Just send me the question, and I'll ask them directly, and then reply it back to you. So but again, feel free to join the chat and ask any question. So here's basically what I have. Lately, for the past 2 weeks, I have been working on integrating the ImGUI library into my engine. If you do not know this, the ImGUI library provides the scene editor for your game engine. So I've been implementing that because, believe it or not, for the past 8 years, my game engine did not have a scene editor whatsoever. Why? Well, basically because I was focusing on working on the on the foundations of the game engine, right? Making sure that the rendering engine was working efficiently, physics, collation system, etc. So, but now I'm at that point that it's time for me to add the scene editor, and here I am, right? So I've been implementing this. So what I have done, as you can see, I have implemented several features. You can see all of the assets that are available right now. In the scene graph, obviously it's empty right now, but one thing that I also did is that I'm able to serialize and deserialize my game scene, right? So I already did this earlier. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to load the scene that I have, and just let me look for it. They're my download folder, and let me scene. and I'm gonna load this up, and you're gonna see the scene loading up. So basically, here's the scene. Again, right? You can add players to this. You can select from the asset. You can go to load, and you will see players being loaded into the scene. Now, one thing that I did actually that I've been working on this week is adding a feature that will allow you as a game developer to select the entities with your mouse. So now that's something that I added basically last night. But now you can select like the model. For example, I'm selecting the player ones here, right? And now you can move them around, right? You can select this guy, and boom, that one, and then you can also move that one around, right? Now the next thing that I need to do is add and I do not know how to pronounce this, but it's called gizmo. I think that's how you say it. I do not know how to say that. I don't know what's the proper pronunciation, but basically I need to do that. So, but before I go and talk what we're gonna do today, which is it's gonna be mainly more cleanup, cleaning up the code, cleaning up some messages. I want to share with you, how this whole mouse picking with raycasting actually works, which is actually very, very, very simple. But there's one little thing that you need to keep in mind, and it's what will make things a little bit more complicated. However, I found an article that made everything so much simpler. So let me just bring up this little application right here. It won't take that long. And after that, I'll answer some questions related to game engine development. So that way, you find this live stream useful. By the way, if you like this live stream, please click the like button. It will really help my channel. It will really help the live stream as well. And look at this. What the heck happened? I don't know why this happens many times with this. Okay, there you go. All right. Let me just take like 5 minutes to explain this, right? So basically, the whole mouse picking with raycasting works is every entity in your scene. So let's say we have, our little character here, right? And then I have another character here. Every of these entities here, they are going to be bound by a cube, an AABB box. That's the name of it, that we use. And so imagine these two entities are bounded by this box, and this box usually in computer graphics we call it AABB, and this stands for access aligned boundary box, right? So what we do is that we simply shoot array from the position of the camera and in the direction of the camera. Don't quote me on that one. I may have to explain something else so you understand. But basically we shoot array, right? So whenever you click on the screen, right, we are shooting an array directly into the screen, right? And then what we do is that we test if this ray collides with one of these boundary boxes. If it does, then there's a hit, which means that we're picking that particular entity in this case. Now, doing the whole intersection test between array and an AABB box is very simple. Once you have the array and everything, you're good. The only problem, and this is what will make things a little bit more complicated, not that much, but you still need to take this into account, is the fact that imagine here, let me see if I can draw this properly. Imagine this is your screen right here, right? The blue is your screen, and then let's say that you click here with your mouse, right? The problem that you need to keep in mind is that this screen right here, we are into the viewport space, a screen space, right? Whereas your entities, right, all of these entities, they are in the world space, right? So your ray the array that you are creating, that you're going to basically be aiming at to the boundary box, this ray cannot be in 2D space. It needs to be converted into the world space. So there are many inverse transformations that you have to do so that you can take that 2D space, 2D viewport space into world space. And once you have that, then you can create your ray and then you can do your intersections. If you do not do that, you are not going to get an intersection whatsoever, because the ray is in a different space than your entities, right? Very simple. Now the cool thing is that you don't have to worry much about how to do the whole transformations, because there's this really cool article by Anton Getterland, and I think he has a book on Amazon related to OpenGL. But he was cool enough to actually write this article where he will show you how to go from viewport space to normalized device space to homogeneous, then to eye space, and then to world space, which is exactly what you need. And he also shows you how to do that, which is really cool, right? It goes to step viewport coordinates. He even provides the range, which is that's really cool because I needed that. And then he provides basically the code snippets that you can follow along. Now, I never recommend people to just copy and paste code. No, take the time to understand it before you make use of it. So it took me a while to understand some stuff that he was doing, but once I understood it, it was a piece of cake and everything works. So now, following this article, which I'm going to also provide a link to in the description below, I was able to basically do the whole computation and be able to finally be able to select the entities that I want to select on and move them around. I can rotate them or do whatever I want. So for example, let me load this up again, and I know you saw it, but just in case people are joining the live stream, and boom, scene. Now this is going to load everything. So now I can select, for example, the field goal, right? And I can now move it. Boom. Simple as that, right? So that's basically how it works. We're shooting an array and we're making sure that the array is in the same space as the world space. Cool. Again, if you are liking this live stream, make sure to click the like button, guys. It will really help me a lot. It will help the channel, and so YouTube can pick up this live stream and share it with everybody else. Having said that, let me answer some questions that you may have, related to game engine development. Now, let me see. The first one, which I tend to get a lot. Many people tend to email me this question is, do you need to be an expert on C++ to start developing your game engine? The answer, guys, is no, not at all. What you need to have is the willingness to learn C++ and to learn OpenGL and to have the dedication to do as many projects as possible when it comes to C++. You need to have this mindset of always learning, right? That you can always learn more, that you need to practice more. Why do I say this? Because when I started, I didn't know C++, right? I had taken it in college, but I had forgotten it. And I was not really good at it. And it wasn't until I started working with my game engine that I really got the hang of it, right? And for the first few iterations, my game engine sucked, which I had to throw away, right, into the garbage can, because everything was not done properly. So throughout these whole 8 years of me working on the game engine, I can tell you that I have learned a lot about programming. I have learned a lot about C++. I feel very comfortable with it. I don't consider myself an expert, but I code using C++ every day. So obviously, right, if you do something every single day, you get good at it, and you build that habit of understanding how C++ work. So you don't need to be an expert. You just need to have that that willingness to learn, and that dedication, to stay here for the long run, right? Because you are not going to learn C++ in a month or 2 months. No, this is something that you need to build a habit, and you need to constantly do it until you really get the hang of it. So you don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be an expert at all at nothing. You don't have to be an expert in OpenGL. You do not need to be an expert in linear algebra. You will learn along the way. That's the cool thing about game engine development. It's such a huge project that the sky's the limit, right? You can make your game engine as complex as you can think of making it. That will require you a lot of work, but you're going to learn so much about mathematics, about computer graphics, about physics, about collision detection algorithms. And I can tell you guys, I have enjoyed this so much more, so much. It has become the hobby that I love and that I have fallen in love with. I never expected to fall in love with game engine development so much, to the point that this is how I spend my free time, right? After work, after helping out, like around the house. This is what I do, just to relax and have a good time. All right, guys. So, what are we gonna do today? That's what we need to work on today. So, one thing that I want to work on today is the fact that there is this messages popping up here. I don't know if you can see this. These messages, I need to remove them. So let me write that down. Let me title this code cleanup. And then remove messages. Now the other thing that I need to work on, and I don't know if you noticed though, but let me reset this, right? So you can actually see this. I'm gonna go load this again, and I want you to see this. Let's say I don't have a scene graph selected. Let's say I click on this entity, right? What I want is for the properties of my entities to show up here, right? It would only show up if my scene graph is enabled. So entity property window should show up when entity is selected. That's what I need to do for that. Let's see, what else do I need to do? I'm not going to add the gizmo today, because I like to make my live stream more engaging. I like to make them such a way that I spend more time answering questions than coding. I think that's the most efficient way to do live coding sessions, honestly. Okay, so let's work on those two, and see how it goes. All right, so before we do that, why don't I answer another question, all right? As a developer, right, do I do the artwork and the programming, myself? The answer is no, I do not do the artwork. I do not design the 3D models that I use. So I tend to go on CG Trader, which is a 3D model site. And actually, let me bring it up. By the way, before I go there, I would like you to also, if you are wondering how to get started, you can go to my website, and you can click on the link books, and that will basically show you all the books that I use to develop my game engine. And also I provide the books that will help you get started. All right, so these are the books that to help you get started with the math engine, rendering engine, physics engine. And then if you want to know, more about, everything else, then you can just check the books right below. That will show you all the books that I used. All right, so let's go back to CG Trader. CG Trader, like I told you, is a really cool site where you can buy 3D models for your game engine. Some of them, well, most of them are very cheap, like less than $5. But you can simply, search right here, whatever, let's say a soccer player. Although I have never found really cool soccer models here, but you can find soccer models here, or RPG, whatever, like, but you get the point, right? RPG models, and that will basically bring up all of the models that you can buy. So that's what I do. I tend to go here, and then I also tend to go to Fiverr, and I look for artists, like really good artists that will design a 3D model for me. Now, when you do that, keep in mind that a 3D model it can be expensive. They range, starting for most part will be like about $60 without textures, and with textures will be like 70 to 80. So keep that in mind. But it does pay off, right? Because your models are going to be nicer and more specific to your game. Having said that, I do. I have taken the time to also learn how to use Blender, right? So if you do not know what Blender is basically this software tool that allows you to develop 3D models, right? So here's the scene of Blender. And I strongly recommend you to do this. I strongly recommend you that if you're going to develop your game engine, to also take that time to learn how 3D models are made, like the whole workflow that artists use. Because believe it or not, I learned a lot more about computer graphics when I started trying to figure out how to make my own 3D characters. Not that Blender will teach you computer graphics, but you will understand the terminology and you will see visually what you read in books. For example, you will be able to understand, what is a texture. Let me see if I can find one. Like, see, here's a character, right? For example, I was able to apply an armature here to my 3D character, right? The armature will allow you to create link animations, right? So for example, if I go here, I can come here and I can manipulate this object, that like the armatures, to actually rotate. So let me go to 1, 5, and you're gonna see how I can manipulate the whole hand, right? And this could be an animation, right? That you can create. So by me taking that time on how this works, on how to do this with Blender, I really learned a lot about computer graphics and what I needed to do in my game engine. I would have never understood what a really armature works without playing with it. Number one, I'm a hands-on person, so I need to see how it works, right? You may also, be wondering, hey, what the heck is a texture, right? Or what are UV coordinates? And when you take the time to learn Blender, you will see firsthand how that works. For example, I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna show you how to view the UV coordinates. So what you're seeing here are the UV coordinates of the 3D model. Obviously, this texture is not the one that should be applied there. I'm gonna apply the proper texture. Texture is basically the 2D image, all right, if you're ever wondering. But here you can actually see how everything works. So you can see that. And you can also see, if I move this, you will be able to see how the textures also changes. So if I move it over here, you see how the character now looks all messed up. That's because I changed the UV coordinates for the textures. And this UV coordinates is what you will send to the GPU, right? So that it will know exactly how to attach the texture during rendering. So, even though I don't do the whole, oh my gosh, I wasn't sharing my screen. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm so sorry. This sucks. I thought I was actually sharing my screen. Oh my gosh. All right. So let me go back. I'm gonna rewind everything. I honestly thought I was actually sharing my monitor, but I guess I wasn't. Okay, I guess let me go back to. You know what I'm gonna do, guys? If you are watching the VOD, I'm going to cut that section so you don't have to watch that because that's messed up. All right, basically, let me bring up CG Trader again. You know, basically, this is the site that I go to buy 3D models, right? Here are the 3D models that I'm talking about. You can search for whatever models that you want. You can do assets, and it will show really cool landscapes that you may need, right? That you may want to use. Now, what I was talking about about learning Blender is the fact, like for example, here you will be able to see. Man, that sucks. I wish there could be a better way to. All right, so let's say we have a character here, right? Let's say you want to understand what are UV characters or UV coordinates, right? Because of I know Blender, I was able to understand it better. And let's see, for example, here I can actually view my UV coordinates for my character, and also I can actually apply, the images here, the image for my astronaut here. So that's something for you to see, right? And if I move this around, you will see how everything is moved, right? How that texture, like if I move it here, you will see how the texture changes. Now the other thing that I was talking about is the fact that you can also, and let me just go back. So, play with the armature, right? The armature will basically allow you to link an animation. So if I go here and I go to link here, animation, you will be able to see how by manipulating the armature, you will be able to move, deform the character basically. So I can deform it like this, like that. And now you can create an animation, right? Because you will be creating some keys into it. So basically that's what I wanted to show you. So in the end, to answer that question, do I do both the art and the programming? I took the time to learn Blender because it helped me to understand computer graphics, and you should do that as well. But now I simply go to CG Trader or get my art from Fiverr. And believe me, you do not want to see my characters because they usually suck. So, all right, guys. So I will take that section out. I do not know for how long was I talking without realizing that I wasn't sharing my proper screen. So, all right, I don't want to quit. Well, I don't need it, so I'm gonna quit this. All right, so I'm assuming that you guys didn't even also see what we're going to be working on, but basically we're going to remove some messages, and we are going to make sure that when we select the entity, that the entity property window is also shown. So let's do that. Let's do that really quick, all right? And then after that, I'm going to answer another question. Let's see. So I have my ImGUI in its own rendering path. That's something that you should do as well. Okay, let me see. With that message that I'm getting, I'm basically showing down. All right, let me bring it up so you can actually see what I'm talking about. All right, so I'm talking about this problem right here. So I'm gonna load up my Let me load up my scene again here. So if I click here, you're gonna see how I get that name. This message here needs to be removed. So basically, okay, I think I'm going through all of the entities that are being hit by the ray, right? So that should be here. This is the one that I need to get out. Okay, that should be fixed that. Now if we run that should be taken care of, which I should not see that message. I had that message just for debugging purposes. So Okay, now let me build this and let me just double check, guys, that I'm actually sharing the proper screen now, because I don't want it to happen again, because that would suck. All right. Hey, if you have any questions related to game engine development, feel free to ask in the chat. I will gladly help you out, answer them. All right, so let's load up the scene again. Downloads. And I really like this widget from MGUI that allows me to, search for the files. All right, so if I click here, I should not see anything. Now, so that's good. Now the other problem is this, that whenever I select on the entity, I do not get the entity property window, right? I will only get that if the scene graph here is actually enabled, if it's open, right? For example, if I click here, you will see I selected that one, but if I click here, you will see how I selected this one. I need that regardless if this is open or not, I want my entity window to also show up. That's what I actually want. All right, so let's do that. All right, so let me look up at the scene graph here so that we know what to do. This is for the mode, this is gravity, that's for the scripting language that I'm doing. Properties here. Okay. This is for the actual camera, stuff like that. Scene property. Entity property. Okay, do I have this inside my scene graph? Okay, that's what it is. Okay, so what I need to do then, I need to remove that out of the way. All right. I need to find how to remove that. Man, this is huge. If active child, okay, this should be simple because what I can do if I can probably set a flag here that if there was a ray there was a collision between the ray and the AABB bags, if I have a flag here, that should also bring this up. Because I don't want to rewrite this all over. Okay, I think that should be the easiest one to do. So let's do that. That way we don't. So basically, I can have a flag here. So let me put a flag here. Let's say, let's call this flag static bool ray AABB collision, intersection, not collision. And we're gonna set it to false first, right? So now if this happens, we can say ray AABB intersection to true. We're good. That will be true, so that will actually open up the whole scene graph. Hold on. Else, if there's no intersection, no, we don't want to do that. Well, unless if we do this, no, we cannot do that as a return either, because we need to keep checking for the other entities. Oh my gosh, my screen just went blank. Okay, there he goes. I came back. Okay, let's test that and let's see what happens. All right, that actually should work. or ray ABB intersection is equals to true. All right, if that happens, then we're good. Okay, let's see. And then after this, guys, I'm going to answer another question related to game engine development. Um, One thing that I would like to share with you guys is that doing live coding can be nerve-wracking, believe me, because you're on the other side, right? Doing the whole coding, and sometimes your mind may go blank. You may know how to do something, but your mind just goes and you have no idea what the heck you're doing or why you're doing something like that. It has happened to me so many times that I've been live, trying to solve a problem and I cannot think whatsoever. Number one, I get nervous, right? But then 5 minutes after the live stream, I get the answer. I get the solution, and I'm like, this was so simple to do. What was I thinking? All right, so now if I click here on any one, I should see the entity property window show up, and it didn't. Why? Whoa. Okay, I didn't pass. Let's see. Oh, haha. I'm not even looking for my entity. Alright, so now give me 1 second. Let's do this. Let's see. We put a breakpoint here, and so we're gonna go through that. Alright. And then we're just gonna see where everything is failing. And then, like I promised, guys, I'm gonna answer another question. So that way you find this live stream useful, guys. I know that watching people code may not be as useful because you may probably were not present when I was doing the whole editor, right? So you probably do not know what the heck am I doing here. So this is true, obviously. So now let me go over here because I should come over here and my active child should be a particular character. So let me check this. Player 01, which is good. Okay, so everything is here is good. All of this should be okay, right? Now, where is this failing? This should be okay. If I come over here, I shouldn't see a problem. That's okay, right? Aha! No, that's good. I'm not even going there. This should be okay right here as well. All right. Oh, tree pop. That's the problem. Okay. See, I didn't really open the scene graph tree, and it's complaining about that, and that's why this is failing. All right. So basically, it is saying, hey, this employee tree node was not really executed, right? And that's why that happened. Now, so I guess my idea in here will not work. So the other thing that I can do is basically do what I didn't want to do. I need to remove this guy, take this guy out, which is a huge piece of code here, take it out from here. Oh man, I never wanted to do that. I guess that's what I need to do. All right, cool. Let me answer another question related to game engine development, guys. So let's see. I have a bunch of questions here. So I'm just picking one of this. Okay, what is the ideal game engine development partner, right? Like if you are thinking of creating a team of game engine developers, what should be the ideal, right? Your partner in crime, right? Or your Robin to Batman, right? So if I had to choose a partner that would help me develop a game engine as I'm starting my development, I would definitely look for a person that has artistic skills to create 3D models and scenery and have a good eye, and believe it or not, I would love for that person to have some development experience. For example, know that person knows Python, right? Why Python? Well, because for you to actually extract the 3D data that I show you in Blender, you are going to need to write a script that will allow you to extract all of the different data sets that you need in order to send the data to the GPU. For example, the most basic one would be the vertices, right, of your cube, also the texture, the UV coordinates that this thing has, right? So and you have to write a script. You have to go into Blender and use the Blender Python API and write a script. Once that is written, then you can export your 3D models to your game engine, right? And let me show you the script so you have any idea of what I mean. But let me it should be this one that I wrote. And I wrote this a long time ago, guys. So basically, this is a script that I wrote, which will basically extract all of the data, of this character, of this model, and then have that data ready for my game engine to read. So I had to do this myself. But if I had a partner, a friend, right, and that person knows 3D, 3D graphics or 3D modeling, and he knows also Python, and he knows a little bit about development, and how to use Blender, I would have developed my game engine a lot faster, a lot sooner. And so some of the things that slows me down is that whenever I need to work with Blender, right? Because even though I may hire an artist to do the characters, I still need to set up the whole scene map, and I suck at coming up with a good map for a game, right? And ideally, I would like that person or another person to be a game designer, right? So that person will be in charge of making the game entertaining and fun and interesting, right? Because I just want to focus on the coding aspect. I want to focus on the technical part. Just tell me what you want and I will get it done. But I do not have, and I've said this so many times, I do not have that skill of making something entertaining. So I know how to make game dev tools, not how to do games, which, believe it or not, requires a different talent, a different part of your brain. So keep that in mind. So yeah, that would be my ideal partner if I want to hire a team, someone that knows 3D modeling, that knows how to use Blender, that is somewhat of a developer, that knows how to use Python, and can write a script. And ideally, that is also a game designer. So there you go. All right, guys. So let's see what else are we going to do. What time is it? By the way, it was 11:59. I don't know how long have I been up live. By the way, if you are new to my live stream, guys, feel free to to post any questions that you may have on game engine development. I will gladly answer them. Also, click the like button. That helps me a lot. And join my Discord server, guys. We have a plenty of actually 520 indie game engine developers, all of us creating our own game engines. So feel free to join our community, guys. And if you are looking or are wondering, hey, how do I start developing my own game engine? What should I do first? Well, if you go to my website, heroserrano.com, which I will provide the link in the description below, you will basically you can click on the navigation bar and click on books, and that will basically tell you all the books that I read to develop my game engine, but I also provide links to the books to work that will help you get started, right? But now you may be wondering, okay, well, what are the steps? How do I become an indie game engine developer? Well, guess what, guys? I have a video here that I uploaded way back in 2018 or 19 that will show you step by step how to become an indie game engine developer. So feel free to watch it, and also don't forget to click the like button on it as well. All right, guys. So let's keep working on our stuff. So my idea of just using the flag will not work because we have a problem with our tree node here. So I'm just going to remove it from here because I'm not going to need it anymore. Actually, I'm not going to need it anywhere because we are not going to be using that. Now, if you see me struggling with my code, guys, please keep this in mind that when you are doing live coding, you may feel nervous and sometimes your mind goes blank, and even though you may know what to do, you just don't realize it. And I mean, you forget what to do. Hey, Isaac, what's up, man? So Isaac, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing the name properly. Hold on, give me 1 second. I think I deleted the wrong flag here. Yeah. So Isaac is basically asking in the chat, how would you manage the collisions of a 2D game engine where you have plenty of entities moving? Okay, so good question. You need to use an algorithm called the BVA. First of all, you need to divide your collision detection into two different phases, right? The first phase is called the broad phase, and the second one is called the narrow phase, right? Basically, how it works is that in the narrow phase, you are going to get a sense of which entities in your game scene are most likely to collide. And the test that you do in this phase is a very simple sphere to sphere test, right? It's very fast. If two entities are colliding, right, with this simple test, then you send those two entities to the narrow phase, right? Where in the narrow phase, the collision is actually more exact, but it's a lot more, more expensive, right? So let me actually go to my website because I have some articles that may help you, understand how that works. So if you go to learn here and you go to articles, and you go to game engine algorithms, I talk about the different, the different algorithms. But before I go there, let me see if I talk about the different phases in the collision in this article. I believe I do talk about it, but let me double check. Oh, here it is. Yeah. I'm going to share this article with you, well, several articles. And if you scroll down, it will talk about the broad face collision detection and also about this particular um, algorithm that is used during that phase. This algorithm will basically parse the entities and will um, compile them into a tree. And that tree will hold the entities that are most likely to collide. So for example, let's say that this is your space and your game scene and you have this many entities, right? The algorithm will parse the space, right? And at the end, it will create this boundary volume hierarchy tree, right? So that will tell you, hey, you know what? The two entities that are most likely to collide are these two and these two and these two, right? And then the ones that are most likely to collide, which are this one and this one, they are sent to the second phase, which is the narrow phase. And in the narrow phase, you do a more expensive collision. But in the broad phase, you do a very simple collision, right? With a simple sphere to sphere. And if that passes, if that is true, then it goes to the next one. But basically, that's how it works. So now, let me share this article with you, so you can check it out. But then after that, what I would recommend you to do is go back to my site and read this particular algorithm, the boundary volume hierarchy algorithm. I basically explain exactly how to implement it. I go step by step, providing a visual explanation of how you parse the space, right? You have the entities here, then you sort them, right? And then you slowly are creating the whole tree that will basically tell you how to do all this. But that's only half of the story. Now, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to use this algorithm? Basically, because if you have plenty of entities, you do not want to test entity versus entity, right? You want to be smart about it and make and be more efficient, right? And instead of testing, one entity against 100 entities, you want to divide the whole thing. Okay, saying, okay, I know that this entity is only may collide with the ones that are near these other entities, and that is it, right? So that will reduce the amount of time that you spend trying to determine what is colliding with what, right? So this algorithm is it. It's very simple to implement, by the way. It's not hard, and I have here everything. Now, the other one that you may want to use and that you may want to check out is the GJK algorithm. That algorithm will basically, help you with the whole collision detection between your entities. Depending what you want to do, right? This algorithm will take care into account, when entities are moving. And one book that I strongly recommend if you want to do this, and it's a must, is a real-time collision detection system. This book is amazing, so check it out. It's really good. Then it really depends how precise you want your collisions to be, right? Because you don't have to use the GJK if you don't want, right? If you can use something simple as just doing a sphere to sphere collision, like I'm showing you here. But if you want something more precise and something that will look a lot more cooler in your game, you want to bound the entities with a convex hull. And the convex hull, like the collision between these two convex hulls can be done with the GJK algorithm. That's where you use it for. So everything will look a lot, more cooler. But it's a lot more expensive. But that's Sure, Isaac, no problem, man. Thank you for those kind words, dude. Hey, Gian, what's up, man? Hey, I'm glad they're helping you out, Jan. I'm glad that this, that my website, is helping, you guys. But again, if you want to, if you have further questions related to game engine development, guys, feel free to join my Discord server. It's in the description of this live stream. We have 520 members as of now, and feel free to post your question there. We welcome experts, novice, aspiring game engine developers, and we really like to share, tips and knowledge with all of you guys. So you guys are more than welcome to post your questions, and if you know the answer to a question from someone else, feel free to also share them. All right, but yeah, if you have any other questions, feel free to ask. All right, so let's see. Boom. Let's go to the editor path. Now let me answer actually another question that I tend to get a lot. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. One question that I get is this: is it a waste of time to develop your own game engine? Believe it or not, when I started sharing online that I was developing my own game engine, and when I started writing my blog, I would get emails from people telling me that I was just wasting my time, that this is stupid, that there's no way my game engine will compete with Unreal or Unity, right? Which is obvious, right? But people kept saying that, why are you doing this? It's a waste of time. Well, in my opinion, developing your own game engine is not a waste of time. Why? Because throughout this whole process, I have learned a lot. I feel that I have become a better engineer than what I was 10 years ago, right? The fact of that doing a project and sticking to it has improved my skills, right? Like the troubleshooting skills, debugging skills, has taught me, the value of not just fixing a bug, but finding the root cause of that bug, right? That's what you need to look for. And aside from that, right, I have also learned a lot about computer graphics, about linear algebra, uh, physics and collision detection systems, and the whole technology out there, rendering pipeline and stuff like that. So to me, this has not been a wasted time, because I have learned a lot. Now, some people may say, well, you could have been doing something else with all this time. Think about the opportunity cost, right? What have you lost financially, right? Because you could have been developing a game instead of a game engine, and you could be making money. Well, maybe, right? Well, like, it really depends what you want, right? I mean, if this makes you happy, then the opportunity cost that you lost was not being happy, right? But this has made me happy, and I have learned a lot. And you never know what where you will where this will take you, right? You never know until you start doing something, and over the 8 years, right? Good things have come my way because of this project. Really good things, and I'm really happy for all of that. So, if you are ever doubtful if developing your own game engine is a waste, it's not a waste, because the last time I checked, learning new stuff is never a waste, right? Not learning is a waste of life, right? You need to always keep learning, or else you're gonna be left behind. And someone who works as an engineer can tell you that if you do not are constantly learning, within 5 years you are literally obsolete, right? You as an engineer will be useless. So you need to constantly be learning, and luckily game engine development allows me to do that, and I'm constantly learning new stuff. And I learn a lot from the members in my Discord servers, to be honest with you. Many of them have a lot more knowledge about game engine development than I do, so that's why I always invite people to join my Discord server, because it's fun. All right, guys. So it's already 12:14. I've been live for almost an hour. I do have to go to work tomorrow. I really hope that this live stream session, this whole questions and answer session, is helping you guys out. I my live streams, I try to format them in such a way that I answer more questions than do coding, right? Because I think that's where I provide the most value to you guys. So if you like this video, this live stream, click that like button. It will really help me a lot. And if you are, you haven't subscribed, please do so. And thank you guys. Thank you, Isaac, for joining the live stream. Thank you, Gian, for joining as well. I really appreciate you guys. So thank you guys. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Cool. Bye, guys.